Imagine waking up and realizing your body isn't real. Your memories are broken, your face is gone, and the only thing holding you together are bandages. That is the reality of Omen. But here's the part most Valorant players don't know. Omen was not always a phantom made of shadows. Before the teleporting, before the glowing eyes, before the mysterious voice lines, Omen was a man, a real human, with a name, with a past, and with a job that made him one of the most dangerous people on the planet. But somewhere between life and death, that man disappeared. And what replaced him is something that shouldn't even exist. This is the complete tragic story of Omen, and to understand it, we have to go back long before the Valorant Protocol ever existed, long before agents, long before Radiance, back to a secret organization that controlled the truth from the shadows. They were called the Scions of Hourglass. Most people in the Valorant universe have never even heard that name. And that's exactly how they wanted it. For thousands of years, the Scions operated in secret. Their mission was simple: protect the world from knowledge it wasn't ready for. Specifically, Radianite. Radianite is the mysterious energy source that powers almost everything in the modern Valorant world. It fuels advanced technology, it gives certain humans supernatural abilities, and it completely reshaped global power structures. But long before the world discovered it, the Scions already knew about it. They had been studying it secretly for centuries, and they believed humanity was not ready for that power. If Radianite knowledge spread too early, they believed it would lead to global chaos, war, destruction. So they decided something extreme. Anyone who got too close to discovering Radianite would be eliminated, quietly, permanently. This is where a man named Ghost enters the story. Ghost was the Scions' most valuable weapon, their best assassin, their perfect operative. Ghost was not just skilled, he was legendary inside the organization. No fingerprints, no traceable identity, no predictable patterns. He constantly changed his name: John, Marcus, Fred, Johan, Dimitri. Each mission used a different identity, a different passport, a different life. Ghost existed everywhere and nowhere. And every time the Scions had a problem that needed to disappear, Ghost solved it. Scientists investigating strange energy signatures, researchers asking the wrong questions, corporate executives digging too deep into ancient discoveries. One by one, they vanished. No witnesses, no evidence, just silence. Inside the Scions, this operation had a code name: Shrouded Step, and Ghost carried it out flawlessly for years. He became something more than human inside the organization. He became a myth, the perfect killer. But then the world changed forever. An event known as First Light happened. No one saw it coming. No one fully understands it even now. But suddenly, the entire planet was flooded with Radianite energy. Cities experienced massive technological breakthroughs overnight. Strange abilities began appearing in certain people. These individuals would later be called Radiants. First Light changed everything, and more importantly, it made hiding Radianite impossible. The secret the Scions had protected for centuries was beginning to leak into the world. One corporation moved faster than anyone else: Kingdom Corporation. Kingdom quickly became the most powerful company on the planet. They controlled global energy infrastructure, transportation networks, military contracts, and now they wanted to control Radianite. Leading one of their research divisions was a brilliant chemist named Dr. Sabine Callas. Today, the world knows her by another name, Viper. But at this point in time, Sabine Callas was simply one of the smartest scientists alive. And she was dangerously close to rediscovering the secrets of Radianite, which meant the Scions had a problem. They could not allow that knowledge to spread. So they activated their most trusted operative, Ghost. His mission was straightforward: infiltrate the Kingdom research facility, eliminate Dr. Sabine Callas, destroy the research, disappear. Just another mission, just another target. Ghost had completed dozens like it before. He entered the Kingdom facility like a shadow, silent, invisible. Security cameras missed him. Guards never noticed him. Every step was calculated, every movement precise. Eventually, he reached the laboratory where Sabine Callas was working late into the night. Everything was going according to plan, but then something unexpected happened. Sabine fought back. Instead of panicking or trying to escape, she reacted instantly. She grabbed a vial of experimental chemicals she had been analyzing. and during the struggle, the vial shattered. The chemical splashed directly onto Ghost's face, instantly burning through his protective gear. The corrosive liquid tore into his skin. The pain was immediate, blinding. Ghost staggered backwards, disoriented. For the first time in years, the perfect assassin had lost control of the situation, and Sabine saw her chance. She activated a nearby containment chamber, a machine designed for dangerous radionite experiments. Before Ghost could recover, the chamber sealed shut. He was trapped. Inside a machine never meant for a human body, Ghost slammed against the glass, over and over, trying to break free, but the reinforced chamber held. Sabine looked at the trapped assassin. She knew who he worked for. She knew why he had come, and she had a choice to make. She could kill him immediately, or she could run the experiment. She chose the experiment, and what happened next would completely break the laws of nature. Sabine activated the chamber. Energy began flooding the machine, possibly radionite, possibly something far more unstable. Ghost screamed as the energy surged through him. His body began tearing apart, not exploding, not burning, but disintegrating, molecule by molecule, his atoms literally pulling away from each other. The chamber was shredding his physical form. The chemicals that had burned his face reacted with the energy, and something impossible happened. Instead of dying completely, Ghost changed. The energy twisted his body into something new. When the chamber finally powered down, the man who entered it no longer existed. Standing inside the shattered chamber was something else, a phantom. His body flickered between solid and smoke. His face had been destroyed. Only 3 glowing blue lines remained where it once was. And worst of all, his memories were gone. Everything that made him human had vanished. His past, his identity, his purpose. The legendary assassin known as Ghost had died inside that chamber, and something broken had taken his place, a being trapped between life and death. That being would eventually become Omen, but at that moment, he didn't even know what he was. All he felt was pain and confusion. His body was unstable, like shadows trying to stay solid. That is why Omen wears bandages and a cloak today. They are not just clothing, they help stabilize his fragmented form. Without them, his existence might simply collapse. But the most disturbing part of the story is what Sabine Callas did next. She didn't destroy him, she kept him. She studied him. She realized something important. Ghost's memories were gone, his loyalty erased, and now this phantom creature had incredible abilities. Teleportation, shadow manipulation, near immortality. Instead of a failed assassination, Sabine had accidentally created one of the most powerful beings in existence. Around this time, Sabine began working with another man, Brimstone. Together they were forming an elite organization designed to respond to radionite threats, the Valorant Protocol. And the Phantom created in that chamber would become one of its first agents. Ghost was gone, but Omen was born, and he became the 3rd agent recruited into the Valorant Protocol. But there was one secret Omen never knew. Standing beside him as a teammate was the same woman responsible for destroying his life, Viper, and she kept that secret from him for over a decade. While Omen wandered through existence searching for answers, Viper already knew the truth. And the worst part, Omen trusted her. He fought beside her, protected her, worked with her for years, completely unaware that she had been the one who turned him into a monster. Omen spent his early years inside the protocol haunted by one question: who am I? He often describes himself as a phantom of a memory, something that exists but shouldn't. His voice lines reveal constant confusion. What am I? Where did I come from? Why do I feel like something is missing? Every mission he completed for the protocol, every enemy he fought, every shadow he walked through, he was searching for answers, but his past remained locked away, and the truth would remain hidden for years, until one symbol triggered everything: the hourglass. During a protocol investigation into the disappearance of several important figures connected to Project Landfall, agents discovered a strange symbol, an hourglass. The moment Omen saw it, something inside him reacted. Fear, recognition, anger. Even though he didn't understand why, that symbol meant something. Something from his past. Something buried deep inside his fractured mind. The hourglass belonged to the Scions of Hourglass, the same organization Ghost once served. And seeing it again was the first crack in the wall hiding Omen's past. But the real breakthrough wouldn't come from the protocol. It would come from someone sent to kill him. A new agent named ISO. And that is where the next chapter of Omen's story begins, because ISO was not who he claimed to be, and his real mission was about to reveal the truth Omen had been searching for his entire life. ISO joined the Valorant Protocol like any other agent, quiet, professional, deadly. At least, that's what everyone believed. He claimed to be a skilled assassin from China who wanted to defect from his previous employers and join Valorant. Brimstone accepted him. The protocol welcomed him. But there was one problem. ISO was lying. His entire story was fake because ISO had actually been sent by the Scions of Hourglass, and his mission was simple: infiltrate the Valorant Protocol, get close to Omen, and eliminate him. To understand why they wanted him dead, you have to remember something. Ghost was once their most valuable assassin, their greatest weapon. But now that weapon had switched sides. And worse, Ghost had become something unpredictable, something powerful, something they could no longer control. To the Scions, that made Omen a liability, and liabilities get removed. ISO was supposed to do exactly that, but something unexpected happened. Working inside the protocol changed him. For the first time, ISO saw something he had never experienced before: trust. The agents inside Valorant weren't just co-workers. They were a family. They protected each other. They fought for something bigger than themselves. They were everything the Scions of Hourglass were not. Inside the Scions, people were just tools, disposable, replaceable. But inside Valorant, agents mattered. ISO saw that, and slowly, his mission started to break. Instead of seeing targets, he saw people. Instead of seeing enemies, he saw teammates. And eventually, ISO made a decision that would change everything. He betrayed the Scions. He chose Valorant. And most importantly, he chose to tell Omen the truth. One day, ISO approached him privately. Omen was standing alone, as he often did, watching shadows move across the walls of headquarters. ISO didn't waste time. He told him everything. The Scions of Hourglass were still active. They were hunting him. And worst of all, Omen had once worked for them. That revelation hit Omen like a shockwave. For years, he had searched for answers. For years, he had wondered what he used to be. Now, suddenly, a piece of the puzzle appeared. He wasn't just some random experiment. He had a past, a violent one, an assassin, a killer, Ghost. The name triggered something inside his mind: fragments of memory, broken images, shadows of the life he once lived. It wasn't enough to fully remember, but it was enough to start asking the right questions. And that's when the protocol made a decision. If the Scions were hunting Omen, then they needed to strike first. Using intel provided by ISO, the protocol tracked down one of the Scions' active cells. The location was Casablanca, Morocco. The mission was straightforward: destroy the cell, gather information, and figure out what the Scions were planning. The strike team moved quickly. Agents infiltrated the compound. Data was recovered, enemies were eliminated. But the most important discovery was not weapons. It was information. Inside the compound, they found records pointing to a much bigger operation. The Scions had leadership operating out of a skyscraper in Jakarta, Indonesia, and that location contained someone extremely important: ISO's former boss. A man who had personally worked with Ghost. A man who knew exactly who Omen used to be. For Omen, this was the opportunity he had been waiting for. Answers. Finally, he demanded to lead the assault. Brimstone understood why, so he approved the mission. The strike team included Sova, Cypher, ISO, and Omen. But once they reached the Jakarta skyscraper, Omen made a decision. He would go in alone. He didn't want backup. He didn't want protection. This was personal. The Phantom moved through the building like the assassin he once was. Guard after guard fell, silent, efficient, deadly. It was clear something inside him remembered how to do this. Old instincts, old habits. Ghost was still there, somewhere, buried beneath the shadows. Eventually, Omen reached the top floor, the penthouse, and inside that room was the man he had come for, the Scion's commander, the man who had once given Ghost his missions, the man who knew the truth. The commander wasn't surprised to see him. In fact, he looked almost pleased. He activated a device built into the ceiling. A beam of energy slammed down onto Omen, pinning him to the ground. The energy began tearing his body apart, just like the chamber had years ago. Omen screamed in agony, his shadow form flickering violently. But the commander simply smiled, because this was exactly what he wanted. Omen trapped, helpless, forced to listen. And so he began explaining everything. You were Ghost, our greatest assassin, our most trusted weapon. You eliminated hundreds of targets, scientists, researchers, anyone who threatened to reveal Radianite. And then came your final mission. Dr. Sabine Callas. The moment the commander said her name, something inside Omen shattered. Memories exploded back into his mind. The laboratory, the fight, the chemicals burning his face, the chamber, the energy tearing him apart, and the moment he died. All of it came flooding back. For the first time since his transformation, Omen remembered everything. He remembered being Ghost, he remembered the Scions, and most importantly, he remembered Viper, Sabine Callas, his teammate, his ally, the woman who had stood beside him for years inside the protocol. She had been the one who destroyed him, and she had known the entire time. She had watched him suffer, watched him search for answers, watched him question his existence, all while hiding the truth. The betrayal burned hotter than the energy tearing his body apart. The commander laughed. He enjoyed watching the realization break Omen, but the commander had made one mistake. He talked too long. Outside the building, Sova had located the containment device powering the beam. One perfectly placed arrow later, the machine exploded. The energy beam vanished. Omen collapsed to the ground, free and furious. The commander tried to escape, but Omen moved faster. He grabbed the man by the collar, dragged him toward the massive penthouse window. The commander tried to bargain, tried to offer more information, but Omen didn't want information anymore. He wanted justice. With one final motion, Omen threw him through the glass. The commander fell dozens of floors to the street below. And just like that, the man who knew Ghost's secrets was gone. Omen finally had the truth. But the truth didn't bring peace. It brought anger, pain, and betrayal. Because now he knew something worse than his past. He knew someone he trusted had lied to him for years. Viper, Sabine Callas. After the Jakarta mission, Omen stepped away from the protocol for a while. He needed time to process everything he had learned, time to understand who he used to be, and time to decide what Viper's betrayal meant. The protocol respected that. Brimstone gave him space, but everyone knew things had changed. The bond between Omen and Viper was broken. Eventually, Omen contacted her. He asked for a meeting, just the two of them. No other agents, no missions, just the truth. That conversation still hasn't fully been revealed, but whatever was said, it changed their relationship forever. Meanwhile, the fight against the Scions continued. The protocol discovered even more hidden bases. One of them was located on Jan Mayen Island, a mysterious facility known as Elder Grotto. Another was hidden beneath the Norwegian Sea. This location would later become the map known as Abyss. The Scions were far bigger than anyone realized. Ancient, powerful, still operating from the shadows, and they still considered Omen a threat. During one encounter with a Scion soldier on Abyss, the soldier recognized him. He didn't call him Omen, he called him something else. Monster. Because to the Scions, Ghost transformation was not a miracle, it was a mistake. One that should have been erased years ago. But Omen survived, and eventually he returned to the Valorant Protocol. Neon even noticed his return, seeing him back inside headquarters. But something about him had changed. Before Jakarta, Omen was confused, searching, lost. Now he knew the truth. He knew what he had been, an assassin, a weapon, a killer for an organization that suppressed the truth. He knew what he had become, a phantom, a broken existence held together by bandages and willpower. But there was still one mystery he couldn't solve. Who was he before Ghost? Because Ghost wasn't his real identity. It was just another alias, another mask. His true name still remains unknown. Even Viper almost reveals it once. She begins to say something. Omen. She catches herself, almost calling him by another name, but stopping at the last second, which raises an even bigger question. Does Viper know his real identity? Or was Ghost just as much a mystery to her as he is to us? And then there's another strange mystery. The Omega version of Omen. In Valorant's mirror dimension, every agent has a counterpart, another version of themselves from a different reality, and Omen knows that somewhere out there, another Omen exists. But unlike other agents, he's obsessed with finding him. Why? Because he believes something. If he can destroy his Omega counterpart, he might absorb his memories and finally remember everything. His real name, his real life, his real past. But what if Omega Omen has the same missing memories? What if both of them them lost their identities during the transformation. And then there's the weirdest theory of all, the octopus theory. Yes, seriously. A strange player card in Valorant shows an octopus grabbing Radianite. The card is called What Ancient Mystery. Some fans jokingly believe Omen might somehow be connected to this. Even Riot leaned into the joke by adding octopus references in skins. Is it canon? Probably not. But in a universe with teleporting assassins and parallel dimensions, anything is possible. But here's what we know for certain. Omen is a man who died, but didn't stay dead. A killer who forgot he was a killer. A victim forced to work beside the person who destroyed him. Every teleport makes. Every shadow he walks through, every mission he fights in, he is defying the natural order of life and death. Sometimes the pain gets overwhelming. And strangely, the one thing that helps him calm down is knitting. Yes, Omen knits. It helps him focus, helps his fractured mind stay stable. For a few moments, the Phantom can feel something close to peace. But the core truth remains. Omen is still searching for memories that may never return, searching for a name that may have been erased forever. The man called Ghost died in that chamber, and what exists now is something entirely new. A being that shouldn't exist. A phantom held together by fragments of memory. A shadow searching for humanity. Omen, the man between life and death. But one question still remains. If you lost your entire identity, your memories, your past, would you still be the same person? Or would you become someone completely different? Subscribe for daily gaming content.